Guys, what are we looking at today on the table? Well, that is the Tucson's 194. And I'm kind of on the fence with this one. It's first day in pockets, and I'm not sure I like this as much as some of the other Tucson models. But let's talk about that at the table. So what are we looking at here? This is the TS194 in its first day in pockets, and I gotta say, I'm a little conflicted on this one. I thought I was really gonna like this when I first did the unboxing, and it's been in my pocket since about 6 o'clock this morning. It's about noon now, so 6 hours of carry. We'll see how it pans out, but I'm not as impressed with it as I had hoped. So let's first things first do some quick size comparison. Your first knife's gonna be the Benchmade 940, which is a good sized EDC knife. It's not overly large. It's also not too small. It's just in that Goldilocks zone. So you can see this is a good bit bigger. Your next knife's gonna be the Wee Knife Company Minax, a knife that Elliot and I were talking about when we had him on the live feed the other night. And you can see this is a full-size EDC. This is still a good bit larger. And then, as always, your final knife is going to be the Chris Reese Sebenza. And as you can see, it's just a little bit larger than the Sebenza. So it's not a small knife. Some of that could be parallax, but it's not a small knife. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way and talk about what I've noticed so far today. All right, first things first, this is a very attractive knife. It has a very unique profile. It's ground really, really well. Blade is in D2. It does come down to a fairly good in that Goldilocks zone behind the edge thickness. It's not super thin, but it's also not overly thick. So it's kind of in that range where it's going to be a good all-around use knife. You've got titanium stonewash scales. It's done in a liner lock fashion. Liner lock fashion with a single point pocket clip that these lines marry up really, really well on the milling, so you get really good aesthetics. Flipper action on it is kind of tight. It's okay, but I mean, it flips really, really well. You have, I know that Jared doesn't like this. I kind of wish that they wouldn't use this as branding for the Yangjing China. Maybe put Tucson knives and then the maker's information on it, or the designer's information on it. I do dig that though, because I feel like this, you know, I've been into pew-pews and firearms my entire life, and this reminds me of a case head stamp on like a 308 round or something like that. You got some speed holes here in the back. It's not overly heavy for how it looks. It looks like it would be really heavy. A lot of that has to do with the high level of milling that was done, weight reduction. And looking at this, you can see it's not necessarily a liner lock per se. It's more like a subframe lock, almost like you've seen those, where this liner is actually just screwed into the scale. Pocket clip is okay, but in hand. And you've got this huge, big scalloped here area on the back of this harpoon-looking blade that it acts as a thumb ramp, and there is no jimping, which, like I said, if you're not going to do jimping right, I really would appreciate if you just didn't do it. And this line here just is perfectly in alignment with the scales, which means that there's no big bump up there. Big fuller on the blade. I am a fan of fullers on the blade that go all the way to the next grind termination. It gives you some really cool facets on that. And this is in a blade shape that I dig. It's got a lot of flat. It still has some belly. It's going to be useful in almost every scenario. So there's a lot of good on this. Oh, meant to mention, no lanyard hole. So if you guys are into lanyards, you don't have that option. And you do have a reversible single point pocket clip, and they have put a screw in that hole to prevent dirt and things getting in it. So overall, it's a pretty attractive looking knife. It has done a little bit of cutting. I find that it cuts okay. It's not horrible. It's comfortable in hand for the majority of the things that I've done so far. So there's all your good stuff. Now let's go ahead and flip it around and talk about some of the things that I really am not on board with on this particular Tucson knife. The Tucson knife. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, I like to be honest on everything that I do, so I have to say, oh, sorry about that. I have to say I'm not in love with this knife so far. This is first day in carry, so my opinions may vary. But there's a lot of stuff on this that I'm not such a fan of. First of all, I said that in the cut, it's not uncomfortable, but it does feel awkward. It feels strange. And the pocket clip absolutely is a little prouder than I would want. It's not necessarily hot spotty, but I have not done any cutting on wood yet, which is where you're really going to bear down and you're going to find any hot spots. Stasa and I both agree that's one of the best ways. That's why I keep wood dowel rods around, usually oak. The flipper tab comes up here and then turns kind of into a choil, but it's at a weird stepped angle that's not as linear as I would like. It just kind of feels out of sorts. I do not like it in that forward grip like that. Then we have to talk about this. The plunge termination on this is really close and it's weird, and it is not 100% ground evenly, as you can see, and you're absolutely going to hit on that. I have to stop. There's a jet coming over. Sorry about that. The F-35s and the F-18s are flying over today. So it's not ground perfectly. You can kind of see how that line cuts in there, and you're going to have some problems with this. I think it's going to develop a smile. It does have a little bit of standoff, but I think it's just a little too thick still there at that termination point. And you can see right here, it looks as though even when they were doing it, that they got into it a little bit and then finished that out. So I believe that you're going to wind up with some spots here where you've slammed your stones into it and got a little bit of nicks and things. And that's not just bad for the knife. It's not bad for the knife, I should say. It's not just bad for the aesthetics of the knife, but it'll chip your stones. Next thing, the action on this is really kind of tight. It's nowhere near what I was expecting when from the previous two Sun knives. It's okay, it's adequate, but it's just not what I would want. It's stiff enough that I can't even really flick it off the fuller. And the flipper tab, this is not something I typically say often, but the flipper tab actually does hurt the finger to flip it. It's really kind of sharp. And getting on it, it definitely makes it's definitely gonna be one of those ones, if you've got soft hands, it might make your fingers sore. Like I said, it is an attractive knife and it has cut well so far. So that's not an issue at all. I just think we'll see. I might get used to it. I do like the lines of the knife, how they've married the milling in on the pocket clip, on the scales, the fuller here and all that. It is a uniquely attractive knife, but I don't think it's going to be a knife that I would gravitate to, but we'll see. That's the other thing I was going to say. This is kind of weird in the closed position. These stick up a little bit. I don't know if that's going to cause a problem, but it just feels weird when you pull it out of your pocket. Those just seem to be a little sharp and unusual. I know that they are aesthetically pleasing. You got these facets that come up on this. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. It does make it attractive, but I think it may pose an issue. But we'll see. Like I said, these opinions aren't set in stone. This might wind up being a knife I really like. There's been several that wound up first day in pockets, I wasn't a fan, and then later on, I gravitated to them. And we'll take it apart, we'll clean it up. Maybe a little bit of lubrication might help the action. So just first day in pockets, guys. Let's turn this around and do some final thoughts and send you out about your day. So yeah, I've liked a lot of the two Sun models, guys, and I just don't think that this is gonna be one of the ones yet. I'm not sure. We'll see. Like I said, my opinions vary. They change over the course of a review period sometimes. The TS301, which is a knife I really love, I didn't like it at first, so we'll see. So that's pretty much it on this one, guys. It's just a first day in pockets. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down, but tell me why. I can't change the content if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, it's as simple as like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell icon. If you do hit the bell icon, make sure you've got it set to all, and make sure you got notifications turned on your device. And as I say in every video, the likes are the most important thing you can do. It shows YouTube that you find value in the content, and it helps push us up the algorithm. If you're watching a video for more than 15 seconds on any channel and you haven't hit the like, you're really not doing those channels much benefit. You're kind of doing them a disservice. So guys, if you want to support the channel financially, bunch of ways, ton of affiliate links. I'm working on setting up an actual CrazySharp store where you can go in and find my recommendations and you don't have to go through all the affiliates. Coffee Brand Coffee, 5% off what I think is some of the best coffee, some of the freshest roasted coffee I've had in a very long time, if you use my affiliate link down there. And another way you can do it is I do have a membership here on YouTube. All the members have access to my Gilded server, which is just like Discord. Baseline and premium tier members are automatically entered into giveaways that I do on the Gilded server. Sometimes I do them here. And the premium guys have access to a sharpening tutorial series that's behind a paywall here on YouTube. Guys, that's it on this one. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comment section. It makes it easier for me to moderate the channel and make sure that what you're putting up gets seen by everyone. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I'll see you in the next video.